Talked to us about women, so I will carry on with the theme about women. So I would say, oh, you love it when I move you, you love it when I touch you, my one. When all is said and done, you believe God is a woman. I'll tell you why God is a woman. See, God is a woman because God got up one day and realized that men were being paid more than her to run the universe. And she thought, well, if men think they can do a better job than I can, fuck it, I'm out of here. And the world is fucked. That's why God is a woman. Yeah? No? Yes? No? No? Everybody's a bit confused. You don't buy that theory then, no? Yes? No? Okay, I'll stop. So let's welcome our fourth act for the evening, Mr. Jack Bartlett.
How are we? Are we well?
Yeah.
So the kids have just returned back to school from Christmas, and this has got me thinking about my school days. Now, I went to a school called Portsmouth Community School, which was a school that was once described by Ofsted as the school to go to if the school you wanted to go to was a massive chaff factory of high teenage pregnancies. And my time in school wasn't a good one, ladies and gentlemen, as I was bullied. As in school, I was fat, tall, and I wore glasses, and they made it a living hell for me. They were always there calling me names like fatty and jolly big boobs. The teachers could be very cruel. And because I was being bullied, I'd lash out of anger because I wouldn't know how to handle it, which would often mean that I have to go see the head teacher, which I hated. He gave terrible blowjobs. And if he wasn't in, I'd have to go see the deputy. And let me tell you, the cowboy hat didn't make it any better. But my main punishment was having to go litter picking, which would often involve me rooting around bushes, picking up any sort of crap that I could find. And this could be anything from like Coke cans to crisp packets to pictures of children in the showers. Yeah, you really would have thought the caretakers would have hidden them better. But still, I can't really complain because at least I'm not getting the punishments that my parents got when they were in school. As when they were in school, they were whipped as a punishment, whereas now they're whipped for pleasure. It's a bit weird, that, isn't it? That my parents' fetish has now turned into their that my parents' punishment now turned into their fetish. I hope that doesn't happen to me. I hope that my future wife doesn't go, "Do you want to spice things up in the bedroom?" And I go, "Yeah, sure. You go get in that bush and I go grab the litter picker." But despite me lashing out, there are still quite a few teachers that I did get on well with. One teacher I got on so well with that led to me being called a teacher's pet, which to me is a term that I never really fully understood, because I was always like, well, what pet? A dog? Well, that would explain all the stroking. I just think we got on really well because I really enjoyed his history lessons. As in his history lessons, we got to learn about the witches in the 1600s. And we got to learn about this one woman called Ellen Davies, who lived in Wales, who was executed by the English for trying to summon the devil. But what the English didn't realise was that she was actually just trying to speak Welsh. He also decided to teach us about the Roman Empire and how they changed the calendar for two of their emperors, introducing the month of August for Emperor Augustus, and then introducing the month of July for Emperor Julius Caesar. I just think it's such a shame that they didn't introduce a month for one of their lesser than emperors, Marcus Aurelius, because I could really do with a month of oral. I also got to take, glad someone likes that. I also got to take astronomy, with the Apollo missions especially piquing my interest, as well as Neil Armstrong's words, "One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." I just thought they were so profound and was such a significant part of human history that united us as a people and stopped the Cold War for just that one moment. Although I can't help but feel that someone missed out on an opportunity for some advertisement there. Can you imagine if they did? One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Moonpig.com. And on the subject of the Apollo missions, did you know that Neil Armstrong only decided to go to the moon after having a massive fight with his wife? Yeah, he just said he needed some space. Yeah, everyone loves a pun, don't they? And when they were on the moon, they were asked to carry out some important research and to let off some bombs. Not for any scientific reason, it's just that that's what Americans like to do when they go to foreign lands. They were also asked to bring back some specimen samples from the moon, so they all had a wank in a petri dish. What else did I get to take? Oh yes, science. I also got to take science, which is where we got to learn about sex. And in those lessons, they helped us to dispel some of the myths regarding sex. Like, for example, one of the myths going around is that you can't get a girl pregnant the first time that you have sex with her. And this much I can confirm is true. Just as long as she doesn't have a pulse. Another rumour going around.
If that's a rape joke,
Sounds like I'm laughing from experience there. Another rumour going around is that you can tell the size of a man's cock by his shoe size. And this much I can confirm is not true. And I would know, because I've got size 15s, and if it were true, my cock would be sitting side to side as I walk, knocking people out. I also got to take geography, which is where we got to learn about other cultures and the way that they learn. Like, for example, the people of Japan go to school to learn to come good with technology. The people of France go to school to learn to become great chefs. Whereas Americans go to school to learn how to swim in the shooting ranges. I also got to take religious studies, which is where you got to learn about the different religions around the world, with Judaism being my favourite, mainly because of the story of Moses and how he led the Jews across the desert for 40 days and 40 nights, and he then received the 10 Commandments from God. These will be the same 10 Commandments that set our morals and our culture as we know it today. One of them being, thou shalt not covet a neighbour's wife, servant, or animal. Now that's a commandment I completely agree with, but I've got to ask, who at the time was shagging animals? Who was going, hey Jonah, you see that bull over there? I'll just grab that one by the horns if you know what I mean. I also got to take English, which I hated, because all we do is read a book, write an essay, read a book, write an essay, read a book, write an essay. Honestly, I've done it so much now that I can't even pick up a Playboy without writing about how good their tits are. Well, that and poetry. Now, I hate poetry. I find it dull and I find it boring. If you like it, then fine, good for you. Well, it's not for me. I find it about as fun as drinking a pint of piss, personally. And to make things even worse, is my English teacher forced me to write a limerick every week. Now, as I just said, I hate poetry, and I hate being forced to do something even more. So when I am forced to do something, I do it, but I do it in my own special way. The teacher forced me to write a poem, so I thought that I would show him. In order to appease, I'd do a striptease and wax the backside of my scrotum. Or, my life has turned into a state. I've got no one except my mate. I take loads of drugs, have an ass full of butt plugs, and my girlfriend I have to inflate. It was at this point that my teacher started to plead with me. Please, please, can you just do a normal one? I said, okay, just for you, I'll do a normal one. There was a young girl from China who cooked and worked in the diner. She was really short, she drinks lots of port, and now she takes cash for her vagina. I've been Jack Bartlett. Thank you for your time.
Jack Bartlett!